Okay, let's go over our weekly market recap for June 24th, 2024, where I go over what happened last week, what's going to happen this week, and kind of our positioning on both equities and bonds. All right, market headline number one, stocks continue again to hit all-time highs. We are now 8 out of 9 weeks up for the tech-driven indexes, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, where the laggers are actually the financially driven Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is actually negative for the partial quarter Q2. Market headline number two from last week is oil is starting to awaken again. And really over the last 3 weeks, we got down to 73 on light crude. And now we are starting to move back up over $80 a barrel. And why this is important is because on the other side, hedge funds have the lowest oil positioning ever. Again, ever is a very long time. It's even lower than 2020 when we went through COVID. So bottom line is any big move up could trigger short covering rally, which could drive this price of oil, which would drive the rest of the other commodities and drive inflation back up. So trust me, the Fed is watching this and they've got to be very careful, because if that happens, then here we go, inflation will start rising again. Market headline number three is a slump in retail. U.S. retail sales fell short of expectations in May, barely rising 0.1 after a decline in April and a rise in both February and March. As you can see from the graph here, we are trending a little bit down. It looks like we might even go below this trend line, this long 30-year trend line here. And so the consumer is feeling the pinch of inflation, even though it's kind of muted right now. Top three market movers for this week is we get a lot of housing data on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We get Case-Shiller on Tuesday, new home sales on Wednesday, and pending home sales on Thursday, and all of those are for May. On Thursday, we also get the last revision for the first quarter GDP. And if you remember right, there were 2 revisions that were heading lower. So we'll see if that continues for the last revision for first quarter. Friday, we get the big number, the personal consumption expenditure, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. So that will be a definite market mover on Friday. All right, here are the corporate earnings for this week. On Tuesday, we get FedEx. Wednesday, we get Paycheck, General Mills, Micron. And Thursday, we get Nike. All right, let's take a look at the positioning for our short-term chart of the S&P 500. As you may well know, we've been adding since May 6th, and so far so good. The equity markets in the form of the S&P is up 15.3. We like it. We'd like to continue to see this strength. We did see some pullback here on Thursday, Friday, so we'll see if that carries through this week, but we'll talk about that next week. All right, let's go over the bonds. Bonds have been choppy for 2024. We started to add back in May 3rd, and so far so good on the bonds. They actually went positive for the first time in a while, but we're hitting this resistance zone like I went over last week. So we've got to not only stay up in this resistance zone, but probably break out. And if that happens, that means that interest rates, or they're going to be cutting rates, which would be good for bond prices, which would drive this up. That's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Our next update is Monday, July 1st. As always, continue to subscribe, like, and follow. We shall see you next week. Have a great week trading.